Yeah, okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the panel of Women Techmakers who are changing the MENA ecosystem. So, thank you so much for investing your time with us. I'm Basma. I'm going to be moderating the panel for today. I've graduated from electrical engineering. I've been working as an edutech engineer for the past few years. It's like to introduce kids for engineers to electronics modeling and basics of manufacturing and innovations. Currently, I'm a facilitator in Shell and Explorer program implemented here in Qatar with collaboration of Ibtikar, which is a startup company. Actually, this is why I'm personally so excited about today's panel. So let's start moving on to know more about our panelists. So, Wardah, why don't you tell us a small introduction about yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Wardah and I have a small startup called Doha to reduce food waste in Qatar, so we fight food loss in Qatar. I'm a mother of three and my passion lies in sustainability, circular economy and entrepreneurship.
And what about you, Agata? Can you tell us a small introduction about yourself?
Hi, good afternoon. So my name is Agata Braja. I'm a user experience and innovation consultant. Before moving to Qatar 4 years ago, I was running my own web design studio and a couple of art-related startups. Right now, I'm part of the digital team at Qatar Foundation, and I'm also acting as a prototyping and design trainer and mentor for various startup-related organizations. So I'm collaborating with the Digital Incubation Center, with Qatar Science and Technology Park, with the Arab Innovation Academy, and also I'm the host of the local Startup Grind chapter. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here, really excited. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Agata. What about Lynn? Can you tell us a small introduction about yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Lynn Mounzer. I'm born and raised in Lebanon. I just finished my PhD on female entrepreneurship in the Middle East and North Africa region, tackling their obstacles, how they overcame them, and came up with recommendations. Now I'm on a virtual tour, where on a mission to really highlight the importance of women entrepreneurship in a region and share my results. I'm also starting my own consultancy regarding gender in the Middle East and North Africa. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And what about you, Nour? Can you tell us a small introduction as well?
Hello, good afternoon, and nice to see all the ladies here, all the amazing ladies. My name is Nour. I am from Algeria. I work as an outreach coordinator for computer science, where I do outreach program for kids or more like high school students, introduce them to computer science and influence them into learning more in a younger age. And I also have a startup. I'm a co-founder of Barui Box, which is an activity-based educational box, where we're hoping to transform the way of educating or teaching children and combine playtime with playtime with learn time, and at the same time bring parents together with the children in an easy way.
Great. I'm really happy to have all of you today, ladies, with us. So let's start to dig into the questions, and because we got really curious about knowing more about you. Wardah, may you tell me how did you get into the field of food waste, and what did motivate you to stay there?
Can you hear me now? I think I'm
Yeah, we
audible.
can.
All right, okay. So I grew up in the Middle East and food waste was something I always saw. So what I felt was that there is a prophetic hadith that says, "He is not a believer who eats till his fill, while his neighbor is hungry." So I always used to think, what can we do with surplus food? Couldn't the surplus food be put to better use? And it was fairly a simple system, but nobody actually dived into. So this is why Wahab was born, to reduce food wastage and distribute it to the community. And today we are an award-winning company that has diverted more than 200 tons of food, alhamdulillah. So basically, the motivation for me to stay was the kind of reaction that the community gave when we started redistributing surplus food, the kind of community involvement that was involved. And basically, as an entrepreneur, obviously, the kind of energy that we get, the kind of independence that we have being our own boss, these are some of the perks, but definitely it is the kind of yeah, what you can put forward for the community, for the environment. And basically, this is what I believe I was made for, and these my talents are best suited for an entrepreneur. So this is why I love doing what I do.
Very nice and interesting. Okay, what about Agata? Can you tell me how did you get into the field of design thinking, and what really motivates you to stay there?
Um, so, my field has been changing along the way. My primary background is in computer science and telecommunications. And, I've always loved math. I loved physics. I love problem solving. And I'm also a very competitive person. So when I was graduating from high school and I was about to choose my degree, computer science was the most difficult to get into. And also it has the smallest number of female students, like below 5%. So I felt that that's like a great challenge. I mean, luckily I really enjoyed it as well. That was not only the challenge part. And in parallel, I was also always interested in art and in design. So after graduating, I started working on projects and at the intersection of art and technology. I was looking into startups who can, promote art through modern technologies. That was my main area of interest. And at some point, I noticed that there is really, that quite often developers are working on projects. They spend really a lot of time, and the final result is something that is not really usable, not really user-friendly, and it's not really solving real user needs, real user problems. So that led me to user research, to user experience design, and to design thinking. And I think that I found like the sweet spot in between all the things that I'm really into. So technology, graphic design, but also that making things work and solving actual problems. So yeah, it's changed along the way a bit, but I'm really happy to be in between those different areas.
It's really nice, actually. So let's move to Lynn. Can you give us and tell us how did you get into the field of entrepreneurship in the, nowadays, and what made you more motivated to stay there? Okay, shall I repeat the question? So, Lynn, can you hear me clearly? Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the line is breaking a bit. So for me, I was born and raised in Lebanon, as I mentioned, and I tried to start my own businesses when I was still there. First, I tried to start my HR company and then a marketing agency. During the period, I faced a lot of challenges, and I've seen a lack of social encouragement and no funds. Just FYI, my businesses didn't take off. These businesses didn't take off. So I decided to embark on a journey to better understand what's the situation of women entrepreneurs in the region. I wanted to really understand and give guidelines and recommendations on how can we improve the whole environment for them to flourish and excel. Like we're eliminating 50% of the population. We're not including them in the labor force properly or even in the business environment. So that's when I decided to, that's why how I chose my topic on female entrepreneurship in the region. And now I'm trying to use my findings to help other women and other organizations to better include them and give them the right tools.
Very interesting. Okay, what about you, Nour? Can you give us a small introduction about yourself? Sorry,
Well,
I'm
I'm
so sorry.
still
I'm so sorry.
right.
I just need to address that. How did you get into the field of education, and what motivated you actually?
Well, thank you. Well, similar to Agata, actually, my background is computer science. I did cybersecurity and network security. And then initially, I have a passion for teaching. So my first job was corporate, but then I still couldn't find my passion in corporate, like pure computer science work in the corporate side. So I moved on to teaching when I came here to Qatar 6 years ago. I started teaching in a high school, and then I really enjoyed it. I got hired also by the university to carry on the outreach. And the reason I was interested to get into that specific field and carry on a business that more or less revolves around education and computer science and STEM in general, is the gap that we have. That's number one. We have a huge gap in when it comes to awareness of the field from a young age. We do have pure sciences in schools, but we don't have the skills taught to children from early enough for them to be aware of the field. So I thought, let's combine that, and why don't we just bring those tools, especially that as working mothers, as or parents in general. They parents usually have that hectic lifestyle. When they come home, they just want something ready, and the easiest ready thing is the tablets usually. So we thought, what if we give them those activities already? A nice packaged activity that is playful or joyful, is entertaining, and at the same time it addresses this skill. So my whole education and the computer science journey started from my passion for computer science, math, and physics. It was my top. My parents, both of them are physicists, so it was my top favorite subject. But at the same time, it's the love of it for education that made me think we should have a change.
Very nice and interesting from all of you girls. Okay, so let's now talk about the challenges that you faced in Qatar or in MENA region generally. Can you tell me about it? So, for example, Warda, can you tell me what kind of challenges that you faced here in Qatar, or if you went into MENA region?
Right. So basically, what I have found in my journey is that food waste is not being given the attention that it deserves. We talk about protecting the environment to make this planet a better place, but we hear about plastic pollution, but we don't hear much about the effects of what food waste does to the environment. And if you look into a country like Qatar, more than half of Qatar's landfills is filled with food waste. And we have solutions for recycling plastic, we have solutions for recycling metal, for paper, but when it comes to food waste, there's no solution. So this is why it needs convincing, because if we eliminate food waste, that would reduce the landfill waste by half, right? More than half, but it doesn't receive that kind of attention. So there needs to be much more awareness put out regarding food waste, about surplus food, about what happens when we throw away surplus food, what happens to food waste when it goes into the landfill. So this is one challenge that we do face when it comes to the corporate as well as the schools as well. When we go and talk about how do you make the world a better place, there's no sense of food waste. When you ask the children what does food waste do to the environment, children don't know. So there needs to be that attention. It needs to deserve that attention, because with Qatar importing 90% of its food, those statistics was just before blockade, but it shows how much of importance food waste needs to be looked into, and what solutions can be there to address this, as well as looking into recycling facilities like composting, and all these kind of stuffs.
And what about you, Agata? What kind of challenges that you faced in Qatar? Or I see that you went through different regions as well. So mainly here in MENA, what kind of challenges that you faced?
I feel that here, not many people understand that how important user research and user experience design is in IT projects. And quite often, I come across many clients, many project managers who think that graphic design, interface design, that only that visual layer, and it's about pretty pictures, it's about color gradients, and so on. And but I believe that good design, that's not only aesthetics, that's also how it solves real user problems, whether it's usable, whether it's easy to understand. And in order to achieve that, you need to ensure that before you launch your Adobe XD, Figma, Sketch, Photoshop, or whatever that is that you're using, you need to do research. You need to go out there. You need to observe your users. You need to analyze how to best solve their problems. And for me, I would say usually in the whole design process, it takes half of the time. Yeah, I mean, like I spend at least half of the time researching before I actually start designing anything. So this is a stage that is quite often neglected or not really, you know, appreciated in the project timeline. So I think that that's the most challenging part to convince institutions and business owners that are working on their projects that this is a very crucial element of the whole process.
And I would like to hear about the challenges that Selim has faced as well here in MENA region. Lynn?
So my field is simple. It's data. And as a researcher, there's not enough information, not enough data out there that will help us better give solutions. So there is a growing recognition of women entrepreneurship contribution to the national development, and but there's more need to understand the factors that encourage them or even discourage them from starting a business. So the challenge here is to create a change and establish an enabling environment for women to excel. And without having the information or the data in there, we are not able to give the proper recommendations, and we will not be without even the mindset and the choice that every individual needs to think of themselves as change makers to be part of this. That's the challenge, to change the current mindset and collect more data about the situation.
Okay. And for Nour, can you tell me the challenges that you faced in the educational field here in MENA region or in Qatar specifically?
So specifically, if I thought it's whether even my job or even for the business, coming up with a new thing always has one main challenge, which I think it summarized everything that the girl said, is changing the norm, right? People are used to something specific. And to bring a new idea and convince people, you need to make them realize how important it is. So in the field, for example, for education and creating games are educational, we had, or even workshops and activities are educational, we had to attract the parents before even the children, because the parents are the one who sign up the children for these, and convince them that these are life-changing, these are important, rather than this just another toy or another game. There's no, why is food and a beverage business a lot easier? Because people do realize the importance of eating, right? You just tell them, you give them something fancier to look at and try, and they will try it. But not to say that the business is easy, it's very competitive, but to bring something totally new to the market, it's a lot more different and it's a lot harder. So that was one of the biggest challenges, is changing that mindset of education is just not going to the school and coming. Education has a lot more, and you can make it fun, and it's skills, not just learning something new from the book, it's also skills. And another also problem on a completely different level is production. Because my business is product based, so production in the region generally is very expensive. So we need to produce outside. And then, I mean, you can only imagine with COVID, we can't really produce from China and outside and bring at the moment. So yeah, those are a few of the challenges that we face from the beginning up till today.
I think by making ourselves sure that we want to change and to change the norm, maybe we will really overcome all of these challenges, inshallah. Okay, so moving to the next question. What has helped you to get where you are really effective and influential right now? So let's start with Agata this time.
Okay. Um, I'm an introvert, and for many years I was trying to work alone, trying to learn alone, and really stay in my comfort zone. And at some point, I came across TED. Ideas worth sharing, and I became a TEDx organizer, and also a GDG Warsaw event organizer. And those communities, surrounding myself with people who are, passionate about something, and and really driven. That had a huge impact on me, because not only you get inspired, but also you are able to learn a lot. And if you're competitive, you're also very motivated to prove yourself and to do more. So you're basically raising your bar, and at some point you also start helping other people, and that's something very rewarding. And one a motivational speaker once said that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So I really think that finding those inspiring communities of people who share similar interests, surrounding yourself with ambitious and driven people, that's something that really helps, and it can really, help not only your professional career, but also you as a person, as an individual. And there is this African proverb that really resonates with me, and I think it sums up pretty well that impact that the community has on you. It's that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. So yeah, I think those inspiring communities, such as GDG, that really helped me a lot along the way.
And do you have any advices for those who really want to take the same track or to go through the same direction? What kind of advice you would give for them?
Well, look for other people with similar interests. Sign up for events. Go online. Now with social media, you can really quickly find people who have similar interests. So don't be afraid to reach out to ask for advice. For many people, it's even like they are honored and very pleased if they can help someone and guide someone. So really find people who are role models or an inspiration for you, and just reach out, connect with them, try to learn from them, and make them part of your network.
I really like this advice. Okay, Nour, can you tell me what has helped you to get where you are now and made you really influential in it?
I believe people, the right people, at the right team, the right people are there, and that will be in my perspective, it's very crucial to any successful journey. I agree with Agata. You want to go far, go alone, but you want to go somewhere and great. I hope I'm not butchering the what was the quote, but I agree. You want to do something great, do it with the right people. And that was one of my biggest blessings. In fact, when people tell me what's the biggest blessing, you know how some people are blessed with beauty, money. I think one of my greatest blessings is the right people and great people around me. So it affected me even when I did my studies. So I studied in Malaysia, and I remember even the people I was surrounded with, there were people who will think out of the box, will not settle for comfort zone. So I learned a lot from that. And another thing is opportunities. It is hard. 2020 specifically is hard on everyone, and people can just sit and say it's just going to get harder from here. We have it's a higher competition than it has ever been. Maybe the elder generation had easier opportunities than us, but opportunities are still there. We just have to go out and get them. And this would be my advice for anyone: go out and find your opportunity, and talk to people, fail and try again. Find something, try it, fail, try something else. You don't necessarily need to like it from the beginning, but you have to try it to find whether this is your thing or not. And I think that's what helped me. I'm very stubborn. It runs in the family and in my country. We're very hardcore stubborn. Like if we want something, we don't take a no for an answer. So I think that will help me. It's we you go out and you get it, and you don't get it, you go try again or change your direction.
I really liked how you both actually agreed on the same point of having people around you who believe in whatever you want to do is really encouraging for you guys or for you ladies to continue whatever you were doing. So this is really inspiring, and I hope everyone listening to us now is inspired by this. So moving to Lynn, can you tell me what helped you to get to where you are influential now as well?
Um, First of all, great advice from all ladies. I agree with you totally. You're the average of your top 5 friends. Be stubborn and just keep going. Totally agree. What worked for me, what made the big difference is after I read a Harvard business study that found that 3% of the MBA graduates who has written their goals and had a plan ended up earning 10 times as much as the 97%, the rest of 97% put together in just 10 years after graduation. I have a big problem in sitting down and writing down my goals. So when I did that, it changed a lot of, it changed my life. I had, I had a plan. I was focused. I stopped being all over the place because for me, I wanted to do everything at once, especially because I'm a woman. As you know, we want to do everything and like take control of everything. So when I wrote down my goals and my plan, and I had a plan for them, I was able to achieve and start ticking boxes. It's as simple as I would say starting with the foundation, which is setting the SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely. This is something like we learned in business school, but we never applied it for real life. Instead of like on a business level, if you do it, but you need to do it for your own life, to take control of your life, take control of what's going on, and move forward. It's not easy. It's not simple. It takes time, but we'll get there. Second, I totally agree with choosing the right people around you. That also made a big difference. They still are my mentors, my supporters. They cheer me up. They push me forward when I wanted to give up. So they make a big difference. And last, something we don't learn a lot about in the Middle East region. I had to travel abroad to accept it even more. To ask for advice, is to have a mentor or a coach. It was kind of in my culture saying, "Oh no, don't do that. You can do things on your own." And then I traveled abroad and I realized that having someone to mentor you or to coach you throughout at least the first steps, will help you achieve your goals. So asking for advice is not a bad thing. It's a powerful thing.
Yes, yes. Actually, we need to integrate this into our society here, like asking for advices. I really like this point. It's really changing one, like a leverage point. We can tell.
I couldn't hear.
You're not hearing me. Okay, that's okay. We can try to fix the sound. Wardah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you tell me what has helped you to reach where you are now, influential and effective in your field?
Sure. So, as a believer in God, I believe that it was firstly with God's immense blessings that I have reached here, alhamdulillah, and with, like the other girl said, with friends and family support, friends and family who pushed us out of our comfort zone. Because, like everybody said, it's very important to have the right people around you. Those who try to push you beyond your comfort zone, people who believe sometimes believe in you more than yourself, right? People who push and tell us that we can do it. But I also believe that as an entrepreneur, it's very important that we have the right mentorship, the right coaching, because sometimes there are things that we assume and we don't have experience in. But it's very important that with the kind of in our journey that we find the right people, have good mentorship, have the right coaching, so that we can move forward. So this is really important. And like people said, search for opportunities, because sometimes even if you feel that you're not capable, those kind of opportunities really strengthen you. It gives you experience. It gives you a lot of insight into many different kinds of experiences and all that. With regard to where so it's a journey. So we shouldn't be afraid of whether we are capable, but we have to live up to those expectations as we progress on our journey.
All right, so let's move now to the. I think we're getting to the time, so let's move to the next question. What are some ways that you find people from your field are making difference in this world? Did you all hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with Noor this time.
uh, People from the business field, or so in computer science in general, or even in education, people who are trying to
No,
find
yeah, exactly. I meant in the field that you are in
education.
now. So, for example, if you
Yeah,
are
so
in the educational field, yeah.
yeah, so in the education of computer science or STEM, people are trying to always try to find the simpler way, but in the same time more effective to teach a skill or knowledge. So even when a couple of days ago, a list of the top courses that have been right now demanded starting from COVID, the one of the top were like the five top were Python was one of them. So how to teach Python is the most effective way. Emotional intelligence, also communication, because right now the whole mode of communication changed, right? Face to face is different than via the internet. So in general, the people who are in the field of teaching or education are trying to find a new mode or a new model that people can adapt to quickly, whether it's for due to COVID or even what's coming after it, in order to teach people in a better and more effective and to adapt to the new tool. And it's similar to everyone else who's carrying out their work right now or their business. They needed to adapt. Education needed to adapt. And we can see it right now. The education has been distance learning in around the world. So even kids are at home and mothers have to adapt. So it is a completely new mode. So actually, education has evolved differently, completely in the past 7, 8 months, or almost a year now. And I think that development is really important for us. It's about time. It made us realize that uh, where we were before COVID is not where we should be. There's a lot to explore, a lot, and even if COVID goes away, we should be learning a new thing. So in the sense of education, I think it has evolved, but hopefully to the better. Now we use technology in ways to optimize children learning without having to spend so much time, for example, going to schools or coming back. And even you as a mother, you are more connected to the child. You're more involved in their teaching. So that's in a nutshell what has been done currently from people in the education sector. In the sense of games right now, or because I am more into like playtime and learn time, so gamification of education. Right now, most of the tools that are online are gamified, and it's a huge market. It's one of the biggest markets in technology is making games and to teach something. So even a lot of not only on the mobile apps, even what do you call it, PlayStation, all of there's a huge market that they're trying. Duolingo is one of them. So Duolingo teaches languages, but Duolingo is actually sort of a game structured in the syllabus.
Yes, great. Actually, this is how you will attract children to the whatever you are trying to teach them. So they usually go for games. So this is interesting. Okay, let's move to Lynn.
Yeah, as a researcher and a consultant focused on women in the region, in the MENA region, my role is to provide evidence through data and tangible solutions to eliminate gender gap in the region. So we know that eliminating the gender gap in labor force participation can lead to a big jump in income per capita. So what we'll know is like excluding women is simply makes no sense economically. So as me and I would say people in the field, whether researcher or consultant, they're trying to create social, institutional, and governmental change through grassroots work, through existing research. We know that in the past 5 years, a lot of changes are happening in the region, and some countries are more receptive of that. They're trying to change the laws, change the social perception of women economic participation, and that's where our role comes, to give them the information they need to act upon, to give them the tools to make it easier, whether for countries or organizations, to shift towards more gender inclusivity.
Okay. What about Agata? What are some ways that? What are some of the other ways that people from your field are making difference in the world? Can you tell me?
Yeah. So just as Nour mentioned, 7 months ago, the world has changed completely, and millions of people who are not necessarily very tech savvy were forced to start working from home, to join online meetings, to collaborate in virtual workspaces, and many companies have really fast-tracked their digital transformation because of the COVID situation. And I think that now more than ever, whether it's in Qatar or in the MENA region or anywhere else in the world, it's very important to have user-friendly solutions that will help people perform their jobs and the daily tasks efficiently. And I think it's teaching us a lot of empathy, and it's showing how important it is when you're a designer to understand people's needs, their feelings, their motivations, so you can create meaningful solutions that are responding to actual problems. And nowadays, because of safety reasons, we might not have an alternative to a digital solution. We are forced to have that digital solution. So yeah, having user-friendly, accessible, usable, easy to understand interfaces is very important, and it was always important, I believe. But hopefully now we can make even a bigger difference than before, because of the digital world we moved into with the new normal. And I love Duolingo, Nour, like education and and gamification. I think it's awesome not only for kids but also for adults. Like
Yes, it is so interesting actually for everyone to grab their attention. Wardah, can you tell us the same question? What are some ways of you and people from your field are changing the world?
Sure. So basically, when we started in 2017, there was not much focus on sustainability in the MENA region. But I believe people in my field, they pushed for sustainability, and they kind of propagated the idea that sustainability and taking care of the environment, it is not the government's responsibility, it is not one group's responsibility, but it is a community effort. So this, and it isn't rocket science, right? It is something everybody can implement. Some can do more, some can do less, but it's the idea of it being able to implement the idea of sustainability, zero wastage, and all that. And the second part is, so I believe that this has brought sustainability to the forefront, has brought much attention regarding it. And I believe that with community involvement through volunteering, so volunteering was something that the MENA region lacked. I would say, especially GCC, there's very few opportunities for volunteering, right? So when we started, there were so many people who said that they would like to do, they want to campaign, but they didn't know how. So many people could contribute their efforts in a more channelized way, in a more uniform way, and utilize their talents when there is a platform for these kind of stuffs.
Yes. Okay, I just want to say something for the audience. Whoever is having any question for the ladies in today's panel, please just drop your question in the comments, and we'll have time in the end for this. Thank you. Okay, let's get back. Is there anything we are leaving out here that we didn't discuss together? You need to address it, any of you. So can we start with Wardah this time again?
Sure. So I believe that a lot of people talk about sustainability, they talk about the environment, but there's a lot of greenwashing going on in the sense that it's just all talk. There's no action. When it comes down to action, people are not that serious. So I believe that there should be more effort, and there needs to be more concentration on what you're doing rather than what you're saying. So people need to look into those kind of stuffs. And also we, as a consumer, as a community, need to support corporations that support the community, that are ethical with regards to how they look after. So we talk about CSR as well, but there's not much that a lot of corporations do. So this is really important, that we as consumers, we have to make powerful and support organizations that are ethical, that care about the community, that care about the environment. And this is a great choice that we have to make. And with regard to entrepreneurship, I would like to say that we always hear that we have to focus on what your strengths are, right? And that's what gets you to places. But sometimes it's the thing that we find as our weakness that is the most powerful. Because I had a conversation with my friend, and she would tell me that she is very oversensitive. Things around her would affect her, right? And I told her this is something really powerful. It's not a weakness, because when you see things that are wrong around you, and it disturbs you to a point where you are ready to make changes, channelize that energy, that frustration, to make things better in the world, that's where we need to move on to. So it's not just things that we consider as our talents or strengths, but sometimes it's our weaknesses that really take the best out of us.
I really like this phrase of having the weakness is the power of yourself. Sometimes this is really nice. And the second thing that you have said as well is being serious about the project, or being serious about the startup, or whatever you're starting. This is where people usually back up. So thank you for sharing this with us. Okay, moving to Lynn.
Well, I will speak on general level what's needed to be addressed. According to the great Mexican painter we all know, Frida Kahlo, she said, "Nothing else is absolute. Everything changes. Everything moves. Everything revolves. Everything flies and goes away." So what we need today is, like more than ever in the MENA region, we need to change. We need to unleash women economic power. Empowering women will spark economic growth, dynamism, and will improve and develop the region. So what I would say, like, we need to speak about the change. We need a healthy and bright economic future for women, driven by women.
Okay, moving to Agata.
I would like to build upon one of the previous questions when you were asking us, what can help you in our careers. And now Wardah mentioned the word volunteering, and that really, made me think that really, if you're passionate about a certain area, regardless of whether you're at the beginning of your career or you're, at a later stage. I would really encourage you to identify the key players locally or internationally and see if there is a way you can volunteer for them. And volunteering, it's a great opportunity to learn, to make connections, to show your skills. And, many of my commercial projects, probably most of them, were the result of a past volunteering experience. So if you're an expert in a specific area, offer to be a mentor for startups, for example. Or if you're at the beginning of your journey and you're not really yet expert in an area, maybe there are some events organized around a topic that interests you. For example, GDG events, and maybe you can support the organizing team and then meet inspiring people and learn a lot from them. So really look for unpaid opportunities which are relevant to your career aspirations, because the rewards are incredible, and it's also really fulfilling. Like, in parallel to your normal career, have that spare time for nonprofit work. I think it's really amazing and it really helps.
Yes. Okay, and Nour, can you tell us as well anything that we have left behind that you want to address? Nour, we can't hear you. No, we cannot hear you. Okay, we can move now to the comments until you can edit the voice again. Okay, talk now. I think. No, the voice dropped from your side. Okay, let's move to comments, and I will get back to you. Maybe there is a drop in the connection of the headphones.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you clearly.
Okay. There's no need for the headphones then. Well, I was saying a lot of things have been addressed, and it's been great actually to hear even from everyone. I just want to add very few words for those who are listening, and there's a common question that usually, whether it's my students or my friends, they always ask, where do we start from? Where should we start from? And there's no right answer. I always tell everyone, do not underestimate the power of an idea. So, a lot of people get ideas while taking a shower or while just taking a walk, or before you sleep, suddenly your brain stops working. That idea can be a future changing. Don't underestimate the power of small steps, or like my friends here, they said volunteering. It's free, and yes, it takes your time, but that could set you up to completely a new adventure. And there's no such thing as a specific age for anything. So you're never too late. You're never too early. If you want to try it. You're not too old to learn something new. So this is when it comes to, for example, education and entrepreneurship in both of them, and tech making. There's no such thing as you're too old to learn a new language, whether it's Python or any other programming language. And you're not too old to start from scratch, right? So just never underestimate the power of that moment. Moments are precious, and moments can change your life. So that's the only thing I would advise everyone.
Moments are precious. Okay, so let's check the comments here. We're having one question. Dear, the question is, can you elaborate more about mentoring? How did you find your mentor? Because everyone is so busy to mentor someone else. I think this question is for Lynn. Lynn, can you hear me clearly? Hi, Lynn.
Hey,
Okay, now you're hearing me.
I
So
can hear you now.
there was one question asking about elaborating more about mentoring and how did you find your mentor? Because everyone is too busy to be to mentor someone else. So can you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, just it's not. You don't approach anyone. That's from my experience, and tell them that you need something. First of all, you have to approach the person that will find you, will guide you throughout the career. You think there can be an add-on. Then you talk to them. You have to ask. You have to first get to know them, and it's a give and take relationship. Nobody likes one-way relationship. So if, for example, if someone decides that yes to mentor you, and you go along and not doing any of the things that you talked about, they will leave you right away because they want action. They don't want to just waste their time. So how do you find them? Whether they might be top management in your organization. There are a lot of platforms that will connect women to mentors, or even there are male. I know more about the women networking and mentorship events. There are events, there are existing organizations that works on that. You can, I personally rely on the snowball on I ask people, who do you think could be a good mentor for me? And this is how I ended up finding my mentor. So I asked, and they started to introduce me to several people. And then I found the right person that I connected with her, that we have the same values, and we were able to work together. That's how I would advise to do it.
I hope it's clear for Wiggy. And Director here is saying thank you, ladies. It was very inspiring. And yeah, I think we have come to the closure of the panel. I'm really glad to have influential women like you today with us. Thank you so much for you, Wardah, Agata, Nour, and Lynn, for this great panel that we had. And thanks to everyone who invested their time with us today. I hope it was so fruitful for you, and that you really got inspired with women in MENA region and in Qatar that are putting effort, and that has added a lot to you. Like a small advices today that really was powerful, like having a mentor, like Nour has said, being stubborn to whatever you want and just try and fail and try and fail. And as Wardah has said, you have to always be serious about the startup or the idea that you have. And like Agata as well has mentioned, that new ideas is an idea that we can implement. We don't have to really ignore whatever ideas that we have. So thank you so much for your time. And if you have any comments you would like to add, I'm glad to hear them.
No, just thank you so much. It was great seeing all of you ladies and meeting you. So thank you, and thank you to the organizers and everyone who worked on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much all. Have a nice night and goodbye.
And good luck. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Basma.
Thank you.
Thank you, Basma. You were great.
Thank you so much.